Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel, Faces by Sam. Today's topic is going to be on how to use a beauty blender type sponge to apply your foundation. Now the things that you're going to need for this tutorial are obviously a beauty blender type sponge. You can either use one of the actual beauty blenders, which is this egg shape, or you can use one of the generic ones that you can find online, which some of them are an egg shape, but most of them kind of have this little indent, which I think serves two purposes. One, to differentiate it as a generic brand and not an actual beauty blender brand, but also I find that it's really convenient for getting around the jawline and around the sides of my nose. So I prefer this one. One, because it's probably about 1/10 of the price. I think I paid $2 or $3 for it in an online site, and I'll put a link for that below, versus the beauty blender, which, yeah, are more expensive. I don't know exactly how much they cost, but I know that they're at least $10 to $12 a piece, if not more. So I like the generic one, and that's what I use. So the other things that you're going to need obviously are foundation, and I use the Benefit Oxygen Wow Hello Flawless foundation. If you're interested, my color is ivory because I am super duper pale. And you're also going to need moisturizer and a primer. Now I've already applied my moisturizer and my primer. The moisturizer that I used is by Ren. It is for dry skin. It is the Ultra Moisture Day Cream, and it's really nice. It's very hydrating and very soothing to my skin, because not only do I have really dry skin, but I also have really sensitive skin, so it's a perfect product for that. The primer that I used is by Smashbox. It's the Photo Finish Hydrating Primer. It's just a little sample that I got in some kind of kit or freebie or something. And I'd never really used it before until a few days ago. I noticed that my regular primer just wasn't quite cutting it anymore, because my skin has just really gotten dry in the last few weeks. So this is really great. I use about a little bit more than a pea size, not quite the size of a grape, kind of in between. And you rub it together on your hands and really work it into the skin so the skin feels slightly tacky. Alright, so step one after applying your moisturizer and your primer, really super simple. You want to take your beauty blender and you want to get it wet. Now mine's a little bit dirty on the bottom because I have been filming some other videos today, so I apologize. It was just freshly cleaned this morning, so it's really big because it got wet when I was cleaning it, but wet is the way you want it to be. You want to soak it and then wring out all the excess water so that it puffs up. What it's going to do is it's going to, since the sponge is kind of filled with water, it's not going to absorb your foundation as much as if you were to use a dry sponge. The dry sponge, it has all these little holes and the little pockets that make it spongy, and where there is nothing, something wants to go. It's just the power of osmosis. So your foundation is going to kind of get sucked up by that dry sponge, which is typical for any sponge that you use. You're going to get a better finish if you dampen it first, so you're going to get less product less product loss, and then you're going to get a better finish because it's going to smooth it and shear it out just a little bit. So step one after moisturizing and priming is to dampen your sponge. Next, you're going to apply your foundation, and I put mine on the back of my hand, a little bit over a pump and a half or so is really all that I need. I find that this foundation is nicely pigmented while being really lightweight. So then you're going to take your sponge and you're going to dip it in the back to give a nice light coating over the surface of the bottom. And then step 3, I think we're on, whatever it is, you're going to start to press it onto the skin. I always start at the side of my nose. Since I'm right-handed, I happen to always just kind of, I guess, start on the right side of my nose. If you ever watch my tutorials and see me applying foundation, you'll notice that I'm always like right there. That's the very first part I start with. And I tend to find that I get the most amount of redness right here, as with most people anyways. So I want to concentrate my color right there. I'm going to go back and load up some more, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. My skin isn't really too red today, but usually it is. And then over the chin, and then back up for my forehead. And you want to make sure that you're kind of pressing and really dabbing it into the skin really nicely. And now you're going to flip it over to the pointy end and then just kind of smooth things out around the nose. And one of the reasons why I like this one is because I like to go down the bridge of my nose, around my nostrils really nicely with it too. Same thing around my jawline. I'm not one of those people who likes to put makeup down here unless it's just a little bit of bronzer, because I am like shockingly pale on my neck compared to the rest of my face. My freckles tend to make my face look darker no matter what I do. But I'm not a big fan of putting makeup all the way down the neck. I think if you're matching your foundation correctly, you don't need to. So I'm not a big fan of doing that. But I do like to blend out right along the jawline here. So there's a nice smooth transition. And then the pointy end again, just up under the eyes. And I like using the sponges because I find that it's a little more gentle around the eyes. If you're using your fingers, sometimes you can be a little too rough. Brushes are nice too, but I find that they have way more upkeep than the sponge. I just like to use sponges best. Alright, and there you have it. My foundation has been applied with a Beauty Blender style sponge. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to check for the bottom. I'm going to include some links to some other basic face application tutorials as well, such as contouring and highlighting, concealer, brows, powdering, etc. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and to like the video if you give it a thumbs up. Have a good day.